The very people who had placed their trust in us?
Betrayed.
Denise's gaze flickered to Nick Harris, her expression unreadable, but sharp enough to cut through the thick tension in the room. You, she said, voice steady but laced with something dangerous, bragged about pocketing extra money from deals, thinking no one would notice. You really thought you were untouchable? Nick visibly swallowed, his usual smug confidence nowhere to be seen. But Denise wasn't done, not even close. Her piercing eyes shifted to Laura Whitmore. And you, she continued, stepping forward. You let it happen? No, worse, you encouraged it. Because, in your own words, they don't check the paperwork anyway, right? Laura's face drained of color, her breath hitching as the weight of those words crashed down on her. The silence that followed stretched unbearably, thick and suffocating. Denise let it sit, let them all feel it. No more excuses. No more dodging responsibility. She took a step back, folding her arms as she cast her gaze around the room, letting it land on every single person at that table. Then, her eyes flicked toward the glass walls of the conference room. Outside, agents stood frozen, peering in, their curiosity tinged with unease. Denise took a deep breath, her next words ringing through the air like a gavel hitting the judge's bench. You're fired. Effective immediately. The room erupted, gasps, stunned silence, a few stifled curses. The tension shattered like glass. Kyle shot up from his chair, disbelief written all over his face. Denise, you can't be serious. She turned to him slowly, a small, humorless smile curving her lips. Oh, I'm very serious. She gestured toward security. 2 uniformed guards, expressionless and professional, stepped forward. They had been waiting, ready. Nick shot up, his voice rising in panic. This is insane. You'll tank the company. You have no idea what you're doing. Denise let out a soft, almost amused chuckle. Tank the company? You already did that, Nick. Her voice hardened, each word slicing through the room like a blade. I would rather burn this place to the ground and rebuild it from scratch than let parasites like you keep running it into the dirt. One by one, they were escorted out. Some cursed under their breath, muttering threats they had no power to carry out. Others walked in a daze, like they had just woken up from a dream. No, a nightmare they never saw coming. Kyle was the last to go. He paused at the door, fists clenched, anger flashing in his eyes. This company was fine before you came along. Denise didn't flinch. Instead, she smiled a cold, sharp thing. And it'll be even better without you. The door shut behind them. Silence followed, but not the kind that came from fear or tension. For the first time in a long time, the air in the office felt clean. The weight of corruption, dishonesty, greed, it was gone. But there was still work to do. Denise exhaled slowly, standing at her office window, watching the city move below her. She had done what needed to be done. No regret, just relief. Because when a foundation is rotten, you don't patch it up, you tear it down and start again. The next week, she personally reviewed every single employee file. She met with staff one by one, especially those who had kept their heads down, too afraid to speak up. Some had been complicit in silence, but hadn't actively participated in the corruption. They were given a second chance. But those who had played a hand in the deceit?
Gone.
No exceptions. She brought in fresh talent, people who valued hard work, ethics, and the sacred trust of a client. And in just 3 months, the company wasn't just surviving. It was thriving. Clients who had left? They returned, drawn back by something they could finally believe in. New clients? They felt the difference the moment they walked through the doors. One afternoon, there was a knock at her office door. She looked up to see a familiar face, the junior agent, M. Carter. The same intern Kyle had mocked that night. He hesitated, then stepped inside. Ma'am, I just wanted to say thank you. Denise met his gaze, seeing in him what this company had needed all along. Integrity, honesty, potential. She set down her paperwork, leaning forward slightly. You earned this, she said simply. Just do the job right. He nodded, standing a little taller as he left. And as she leaned back in her chair, For the first time in years, Denise felt something she had almost forgotten existed. Peace. Because at the end of the day, business isn't just about money. It's about people. And now, she had the right people. In a world where power and greed often win, character still matters. Denise had built this company on values, and the moment those values were compromised, everything had begun to fall apart. But the most dangerous thing? Silence. The employees who let corruption thrive, who ignored the cruelty, who told themselves it wasn't their business, they were just as guilty. And if Denise had done the same, if she had brushed off the warnings, if she had looked the other way, she would have lost everything. So, here's the real question for you. If you saw something wrong in your workplace, in your community, in your life, would you speak up? Or would you let it slide until it's too late? Let me know in the comments. And if you believe integrity still matters, hit that subscribe button.